Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. This is my top 10 list, top 10 reasons why you should play Epic 7, part 2. And today we're going to go through points 6 to 10, so we're going to wrap this up. And so one of the things that, again, if you watch my first video and if you're a follower of me on YouTube for the past year or so, you know that, again, I came from FFBE. Now, during that time, one of the complaints from the player base is that, the developers, they're not really generous. To be honest, I was never on that bandwagon, because I think that generosity is subjective. Generosity depends on your point of view, and so while people can complain about it, I didn't really stop them. Everybody loves free stuff, but in that game we also didn't have free daily summons. We had half price summons. So in this game we use bookmarks to summon a hero, and you can purchase bookmarks with Skystone, which is the limited currency in this game, which is the pay-to-play currency as well. But in this game we do have free summons once a day. Now I know that this is not a new thing for gacha games to have a free daily summons, to be honest, but it's just in contrast to other games that may do as a half price. It really does seem like a ripoff when you can get it for free. Now the other thing is that it's very easy to accumulate Covenant bookmarks, which is for your regular summons, Mystic bookmarks, which I'll get into in a bit, for a special banner, and then also Moonlight or Galaxy bookmarks. These can drop from certain boss fights. They are available to purchase, but let's not talk about the pay-to-play aspect. Let's strictly speak on the free-to-play aspect and why you should play this. When you're summoning, you get this thing called the gold transmute stone down at the bottom corner here. It says summoning mileage 3 out of 20 right now. Every time you make one summon, whether it's a free summon or your own summon from your own Covenant bookmarks, you do rack up summoning mileage. Now it does take 20 pulls to get one transmute stone, and it takes 6 of these gold transmute stones to get one of these more rare pulls, what we call Moonlight or Galaxy summons. They're called Moonlight units because they're locked to dark and light element. So at the end you can purchase them here. So I have 5 gold transmute stones right now. You need 6 to purchase 1. You could also use your summoning mileage rewards, so your gold transmute stones, to buy this hero ticket, which is a 4 to 5 star summon ticket. Now there's a difference between the two. One, Moonlight or Galaxy bookmarks can only summon dark and light heroes, which that's probably for another video, but they're generally very powerful heroes, and mostly catered to PvP. They have better kits for PvP, GVG, those kind of things. I've purchased like 1 or 2 of these in the past, and for the price you're paying for it, if you roll a 4-star from the regular summon pool, it's kind of salty, and the likelihood of you getting a 5-star is not always there unless you're just extremely lucky. But most people try to bank for these Galaxy bookmarks because those heroes are absolutely unique. There's no other way to pull them except in Mystic summons and or Moonlight summons itself.
Your new connections.
You can never pull it from the regular Covenant summon or even the featured banner, so that's why most people go for the Moonlight summons. The Mystic summons are a new thing recently implemented, and so this will be touched upon in point 10, but that the developers are always expanding the game, and I really like this aspect. So Mystic summons is a new unique feature. I think it's every month they get well, actually you can see this, there's 36 days actually till the refresh, so about a month and a half, over a month and a half, they feature new Moonlight summons. So this is a light elemental mage that's recent, very hot right now, Blaze Dingo, 4-star light elemental hero. And for Mystic summons, they are Moonlight heroes that are locked to this pool. So Mystic summons are really awesome. You have a limited pool for the top there, as you can see, in 36 days, and then you get a change in your regular Covenant summon pool, which is like, on the bottom here, and these are the only ones you can pull. So Mystic Summons brings in a new dynamic for your pulling game, and you know, so you can choose exactly who you want. You can preview the next week's summons, so you can save your Mystic Summons for this. Now Mystic Summons can be obtained freely by hunts, so you can get them in hunt drops, and also you can get them in guilds. So guilds are free to join. It just depends on if you're coordinated or if you're a high-ranking player. You might get into a better guild. For a better guild, if they win guild wars, they get reward bonuses or reward multipliers, which in turn will get you more Mystic Summons per war. So you do need to attend guild war, or need to join a guild that does attend guild wars, and then you can get those Mystic Summons. So like I said, as a free-to-play player, it's still pretty easy, and if you watch part 1, you would know that being a free-to-play player, you really have almost all the benefits as a free-to-play. There are a ton of content creators on YouTube and on Twitch that are Epic 7 players, but they're either free-to-play or they're like really, you know, dolphin level, and they do better because they know how to play the game. So it's it really does depend. Number 7 I would like to say is that this game is future-proof. Now I do put this in a question mark because really nothing is exactly future-proof, but in a recent developers interview, this is Taiwan developers interview, they asked the developers of Epic 7, like, you know, what their plan is, when are they releasing more story, and in part 1 we did talk about that there's like multiple continents in your main storyline, so what we call the adventure. We only are in Britannia, but we have so many other continents that are not unlocked, so you can see like you cannot explore this region yet. Now I don't think that the game developers just kind of place them as placeholders. In the interview they've shown that they have about 10 years worth of content coming, which is amazing. They were saying about 1 year per continent release, and 10 years, I mean, you don't even count 10 here, so I'm not quite sure what they mean. There's 5 right here, so it could be that you can shift to the other side of the world or something. It's extremely crazy. And again, if you do watch part 1 of the top 10, you would know that I did explain how much stuff there is to do in this game, that you'd be strapped for energy. In fact, this is another tip, and I can talk about this in another video. Most high-ranking players don't even use Sky Stones for summoning. Like I said, if you combine all of my points that you don't need to summon in order for this game to be good, most people actually use the Sky Stones to buy energy, because that's how much energy you'll go through if you take this game very seriously. But not only is their content in you know, impressive in like the length or duration of the time that they'll have it going, but rather the depth of it. So far my experience, now I would say this, I'll admit this right now, when I started playing this game, I treated it like any other gacha game. It's just like, just play the gameplay, whatever. So I skipped most of the story, I would say all of the story in these adventures. But recently I've been like reading the side stories, which you get as events once per week, once per 2 weeks rather. And the side stories are really immersive, and you really actually like the characters. Someone was mentioning this on Discord, is that saying that the writing in this game is not at the production quality of a mobile game. Each one of them has like really rich lore, and not only that, the complicated part for me, and I can't get my head around it, is that each character has connections to someone else, either in the past, so not revealed until later in the story, or if they're a new hero introduced absolutely to the universe, brand new hero, their lore is thought out, that they're connecting relationships with other heroes that are existing in the world. Sometimes the heroes are not even released yet as a pullable unit. So Charles here, Charles has been like a very important character in the story up to this point until his banner release. And so sometimes there's a lot of setup and teasers, like, ooh, there's this character you're reading in the story, it's like, ooh, they sound really cool, but their unit haven't been released. And so this is something that I really give the developers props to, that they have had this thought out. I just can't imagine if they had this kind of like brainstorm wall, what that would even look like in terms of like post-it notes. And like, you know, you can imagine like in one of those like crime dramas, people always like have like photos of like, you know, bad guys on this map, and they have this like yarn, you know, linking things together. I can almost imagine that happening in the studio at Smilegate, which is pretty crazy. I don't know what that looks like, to be honest. And 10 years plan, man, if they keep the balance of this game and keep up their the way they run their business, I think they can last 10 years for sure. I'm really looking forward to that. That's myself. Let me see here. So number 8. This one I would say probably might be unique to me. Again, I did mention in part 1, I do come from an animation and design background. So UX, or user experience, and UI, user interface design, is very important to me in a game, especially in a game as complex as this. Now, I will say this right off the bat, that I do find some flaws in the UX design. There's some minor ones. But again, like I said, for a mobile game, this is console quality. Very good, very well thought out. And so, you know, so for example, I'm going to take you through like a flow. So a typical flow, let's say you go to the battle and you want to go to the hunt, okay? And, you know, you go to the hunt, and let's say you go to hunt stage 11, and you're ready to go, but let's say one of your heroes are max level. So right here, I'm leveling up some fodder, but let's say that fodder was a max level hero that you want to level up for a 3-man. Okay, so let me put this as an example. To do this justice, I will want to do this. So okay, so I have a max level Mega Phantasma here. So as you can see, I can swap in my heroes here, which is nice to have, and that's kind of like, oh, that should be normal. Now there's some things that I do think that are missing. One, that you can't go straight to the equipment of your units on this screen. I would say that, but they do kind of meet you halfway. Instead of now going all the way out of the battle, going to my main hub, which I'll call it, I don't know what they're, you know, really called, into my main hub, and then going to the details, and then actually equipping the hero, like re-equipping them. They do kind of meet you halfway where you can do this. So go to battle again. I would go through the same flow, walk through it, so that you can always access your equipment on the top right of your screen in this little knapsack icon. So wherever you are, as long as you can access this, you can access the details of your hero. It does work well. And so I know that in some games, like the menu system, so you can look here, you can click on the hero here, or tap it if you're on your mobile phone. You go into it, you can make your adjustments, and then when you go back out, you go back to where you were. That's very important. I know there are some games out there that kind of give you like this half-baked flow. So like you can go to your equipment, you go back to the hero, but then when you press back, you actually go back to the main hub, and then you have to go through all of that again. To me, as a UX designer, that is extremely important. And you know, so some people, you know, might not necessarily notice the convenience of that. But I've been through multiple games, not just mobile games, even console games run into this problem, where it's not properly designed and the flow is linear. So the worst kind of flow when you're playing this kind of complex game is that if you go from point A to point B to point C to point D, you have to back out from point D to point C to point B to point A. That is the worst kind of flow, user experience flow. Again, like I said, it would be beneficial, I think, for them to have it where that when I was in that prepping page, I can access the gear immediately, like I can do here. So when you're actually setting up the teams, basically that's like a mini version of what you see here. So what you see here is a mini version of it. You can click on the hero and then click directly to swap them, or click on them directly to get into your details again. So if I do that, I can go back, and if I go back, it goes back to where I was. So that's all good. It's just that in the menu view, I would kind of hope that it's there. But you know, the thing about Smilegate, or the developers of Epic 7, is that almost every week they have UI upgrades, UI changes to make it more convenient. So I have no doubt that if people, you know, start realizing this, or even themselves in their own testing, user testing, realize that this is a benefit to have, they're gonna add it. I have no no doubts that they would do it. Just a recent patch that they did, they added this in the guild chat or channel chat here, in-game chat, they've added this transparency feature. I don't think anyone, oops, sorry. This is the chat report feature. I don't want to report anyone. The wrong icon. So this is the transparency feature. So originally they had it where it's like really dark. So if you're like in a run, all the enemies will be most likely on the right side of your screen. And you can't see who you're attacking. You can't see, you know, what you're doing, what's happening on that side. So they kind of have this transparency option. I mean, it kind of works. You have this text that is still at max opacity, so it's still fully opaque. That kind of blocks your view. I would say that if it would be cool if they kind of like, you know, have a triple toggle option. But again, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. This is not a review on their UI. This is just saying that part of the well-made thing is that everything is clickable with pop-ups that give you context to what things are. That to me is very, very useful. So many times in other games, I kind of want more information on a certain thing, a certain element, a certain icon, and I wouldn't have access to it. Like, you know, this is a very smart, ingenious way that they've done it. Now, I'm doing this with the mouse and on an emulator, so it's very easy to click. But I would say that even on the touch screen, on a mobile phone screen, not even on a tablet, it's actually relatively easy. They got a pretty good system going where it kind of guesses your gesture or the nearest thing that you can, you know, you're hitting. So like all this, like, very good. It gives you the context of what it is, and the currency, of course, on top changes depending on the context that you're in. So back in the main hub, I don't need some of the currency stuff that I need to see. So that's very smart designing, interface design, very smart, contextual based. I love that aspect. Anyways, I'm not gonna get too into this because I think most people probably won't care about this aspect, but that to me is number 8. Number 9, again, I think is very niche to myself, but if you do play Epic 7, you will realize that this game is very, very PvP driven. Again, like I said, most of the unit pool, like the Moonlight summons, they're not really, those units are not really catered to PvE content, mostly catered to PvP content. There's a whole set of gears that you can get in this game that is almost just PvP specific content. Recently they added Guild Wars, and like I said, Guild Wars is where you get the Mystic summons. Oh, thank you, Big Germ, for that support there. Caught you on stream, your generosity. So Guild Wars recently added, and again, on this side, there's this kind of like guild boss battle. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. You can see will be updated soon. This is, again, another thing to look forward to, another content to look forward to. But so far, Guild Wars have been, you know, I think received quite well in the community. Yes, there's complaints about certain exploits, but that's a specific mechanic in the game. I don't want to get to it. Our guild is doing pretty well. I was mentioning that our guild is mostly filled with mostly free-to-play players, and we're pretty good. We're guild rank 64 now. I'm very proud of our guys here. Like we're small potatoes. We're small potatoes to some of these like Mango Town, Hellgate, Mangoville, a lot of mangoes. Ambition, of course. Everyone knows. But we're doing well. We're doing okay, and it's a very fun aspect of the game. With the in-game chat, but of course we do chat on Discord. We communicate our attacks, we communicate who we're attacking, what the plan is, what the strategy is, and if we need to change strategy here and there. And in GVG, there's a specific different type of fighting style where you're limited to only 3 heroes, which does change the dynamic of how you want to set up your offense teams, how you want to set up your defense teams, and you know, also team chemistry, because once you miss one hero, you really miss a specific link that makes a whole team work. So you kind of have to rethink most teams, not all teams, but most teams. And of course there is that emphasis on arena. Arena is pretty cool, and if you don't like actually challenging like real players, you're not competitive, there's always the NPC challenge. Very easy, 3 different levels, 3 different you know, reward tiers for you. You get sky stones only from NPC battles, but you do get more conquest points, which is an important currency in this game. if you fight regular people. And of course, if you climb the ranks higher, you do get sky stones as a reward at the end of the week. So you can see here, if you're top 1 with 5,500 victory points at least, you get to 1,500 sky stones as a weekly reward there. If you promote to a higher rank on the first time, you get what we call promotional rewards. So on the third column, you can see there 180, 120. So as you're climbing this, you do get an initial reward, and if you stay there to the end of the week, you do get the according rewards on the right. So the weekly rank reward. So this is pretty cool, very fun. I'm very knee deep into PvP because I myself found that this game, every single thing you're doing, the end game truly is PvP. Like if you are good enough to complete all of the high-end content so far, then all of the farming, all of the gear, all of the grinding is for PvP, the competitiveness. Because PvP grows organically, grows with meta, grows with new units, grows with new strategy, new players. It becomes like almost a limitless thing. So if PvP is not your thing, I don't think 0.9 here, it really would float your boat. In my opinion, I think PvP is an awesome aspect, and they really spent a lot of time fine-tuning it. But yeah, that's a whole other thing. I could probably talk about that in a future video, but if you do watch my YouTube videos, you would know that I do PvP quite a bit. I kind of like do PvP videos once in a while. The very last thing, point 10. So this one's going to be shorter than part 1. Point 10 is my favorite. It is not in rank. Okay, if I could rank it according to like what I find the most important, I would actually rank number 10, number 1. My number 10 point is that developers are very open to feedback. They're very fast at communicating, and they're very transparent. And in my notes here, I do write that they're really quick to update bugs, sometimes as immediately as 1 day. Their maintenance times are relatively short for a game like this. Now, this game is also very well known that there are no loading screens. It's a seamless transition if you do have a very steady Wi-Fi connection. If you don't have a steady Wi-Fi connection or your mobile data, you will get this thing that says connecting in the middle, but there is no loading screens. All right, no loading time, no loading screens, which is an amazing thing in a mobile game specifically, and especially a mobile game that packs so much data, good sound, visuals, graphics, animations, etc. It's an amazing thing. But the developers are really quick to update the bugs with a short maintenance time, and if they extend the maintenance time, you are rewarded pretty well. They give you more energy in terms of time per energy, so minutes per energy. They give you more energy back than their extension, so you get more than they actually took from you. Also, they're constantly improving, like I said, so like UI updates, character balancing updates. This is one thing I have to note. In many gacha games that I know, that there is like a shift in a meta in what are top tier heroes, and then you kind of neglect old heroes. Over time, you kind of replace the toys on your shelf, kind of, so to speak. But in this game, they keep rebalancing heroes. So there is one hero right now, for people who are playing Epic 7 and you're watching this video, you know who I'm talking about. There's one very desired hero right now in game, and that is Ken. So I'm gonna quickly show who he is and quickly give a background on what happened to him. But he's only one example. Okay, this is not full review on every single hero that has gotten improvements. So why am I not able to find him? So let me filter it to fire here. So Ken here. So this guy. So originally, when we all started Epic 7, he was rated to be one of the most troll heroes, like pretty much useless. He had some uses, but he wasn't like good. Everybody re-rolled for like Destina and Says, and then the tides shifted. In just a couple of months, the priority of which hero is good or not has changed, and I don't believe that the developers are trying to kind of you know, troll you, but it's rather they really do find every single hero because of the design that went through it, the character design, the skill design, how it works in the rest of the flow with other heroes, his skill sets. I really do believe they find every single hero an investment and they love every single one. And then so they tuned him to make him better, and they updated his skill sets so that he's better and he's actually meta. So it's very very surprising for a developer to do this. They don't just do this for their 5-star heroes so that you just spend money trying to pull for them. They do it for 3-star heroes, 4-star heroes. They either nerf or they enhance. Now all you know, everyone who started the game, there were a couple heroes that people just only stuck to, namely Elson, Tierra. They stuck to those heroes, and they're 3-star base heroes. And Elson you can get for free from the connections here. And so a lot of people took advantage of that, and that was like shifting the meta. And I do believe that they were really broken units. Their kits were just too good that everyone was using them. Now when the developers did, you know, nerf them, they're still usable. They're just not top tier. You can have other people that can fill the roles. When they did nerf them, they did give a recall function. So all the grinding, all the time you spent into them, they actually just, you know, recall them back. You can recall back all your stuff. So it was pretty cool of them to do that. And I totally honestly, you know, I get why they're constantly rebalancing the heroes. Their reasoning is that they want to make the game economy like balanced and fun. They really want to encourage players to try out new heroes, and I do like that aspect because no one wants to pull, like, you know, let's say if you're going for Charles here and this higher drop rate banner, you're going for Charles and you pull some salty hero, even if it's a 5-star, and you're just like, oh man, I'm so salty, I'll never use them. In this way, when they're balancing the heroes like this, every single one of your pulls are valuable to some extent. Yes, you might not get the hero you want at that moment, but every single one of them are useful in certain scenarios. Many people on my Discord, you know, they've pulled all these heroes that they thought were bad, and they kind of list to us like what they have when we're like trying to help them with PvP or GVG teams, and we're just like, what? You have this unit? Why are you not using them? They're so good. And it's because this game shifts so quickly. People are still caught up on old content on YouTube, and, you know, thinking that, oh, you know, Says is still top tier. And like I said, every single hero can be good. That's why it's not a bash on the hero Says. But you can no longer really just rely on a single source. I would definitely say if you're a new player and you're playing Epic 7 and you want to invest your time into it, I would say watch multiple content creators and, you know, kind of get a pulse on the news, what's been updated, because this game updates way too frequently. In a good way, And so basically those are my top 10s that I have listed. I find every single one of these reasons a compelling reason for me to stay. Yes, there might be only like 3 to 4 reasons that got me into the game, but all 10 of these reasons are why I'm staying in the game. It's just an incredible game, and I really do think if you've not played Epic 7, you should definitely try it out. Like I said in my part 1 of the video, I do think you should try coming onto my Discord server. Again, a lot of new players, and we are pretty friendly folk, and we do help each other out. So I'm gonna end that there. If you guys you know, have thoughts, and you're Epic 7 players, you're watching these videos, let me know your top 10 in the list. Perhaps there are more in the future. I do plan on making you know, top 10 things that you know, Epic 7 can improve on. So, you know, I'm not just like sucking up to them, trying to say that, oh, it's all good, there's always going to be improvements that are needed, but I think that's for a future video. So I'm going to end that there. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll say this as a joke. Terra says that the important 11, so there's another one. He wants to add a point 11. It's better than FFBE. Af. I don't know if I should have said that, man. That's kind of bad. It's kind of bad. Feels like I Okay, actually it is. Well, honestly it is. I've been saying that in part 1 anyways. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys on YouTube next time.